What's up, YouTube fans? Today, we're going to take a look at the Fantastic Model or FansToys dock, their version of a Masterpiece scale or Ratchet. So this is the fourth in the line of Fantastic Model, which is their alternate line that it seems that they're reserving for figures that Takara has already done. So we got the Ultra Magnus first, then we got the Ironhide, and now we've got Ratchet. Number one is going to be Optimus Prime. We just it hasn't come out yet, but those are the four in this line. And I did look at the Warhorse, their version of Ironhide. I did have some issues with it. I'll bring it a little bit later for comparison. So I was a little more careful with this one just because I know about the issues. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the paint. So far, I've only got minimal paint scrapes. I've got a little bit. This panel right here, this tab, is where I had a lot of paint scrapes on the original Warhorse. And I do have some, it's hard to see, but I do have some on the side here. And that's one transformation. This has been transformed one time to vehicle mode and back. And that's why I'm starting the review here, so you can see, if there's any others. I do have little bits of paint that have come off, but I can't find any visually in this mode. I guess right here there's a little bit. But in general, the white seems to cover up the missing paint a little bit better. Although, I don't know how many transformations it has in it where we won't have any issues. We have a really nice face sculpt here. Metallic blue eyes, gray face, gunmetal for the crest. Yeah, the red cross symbol here on the shoulder. Somebody told me in the comments that it's actually a war crime to use the red cross symbol on a war machine, which I thought was kind of funny. Now, Ratchet's actually a doctor, right? So I think it's okay. But you do have that. Painted in red. You got the lines here, the black lines on the forearms as well as the thighs. Same type of backpack as the original. It does support you using this in the sled mode, which we will look at. Let's go over the articulation on this guy. Head has a rotating swivel, goes up to there. This time I do have the panel on the neck, so I don't have to worry about that. Down to there, and it rotates around. It can, if you're not careful, it can collide with this, so just watch out for that. Good looking head too. Shoulder rotates around a friction joint out to the side on a hinge. Your rotation at the bicep is very tight at first, so you just got to get some of the paint out of the way. Paint is kind of holding it up. You have a little bit more than 90 degrees at the elbow, so it gets you up to there. We have a rotation here at the wrist. We have individually articulated fingers on 2 pins. Thumb is on a ball joint and a pin. Well, I like the way these hands work, so they've been pretty good with the hands overall. Coming down to the waist, man, that shoulder is really tight. Ratchet rotation at the waist. Does rotate all around. Ab crunch gets you down to there. That's considerably more than we've gotten in the past from FansToys, so that's good. It does kind of lock in place when you push it back down. Hip skirts on the front and sides. We'll move out of the way. Allow the leg to kick up to there. Move the hip skirt out of the way on the back. Back to there. It does have a cutout there, but it basically goes up to there. And then out to the side on friction, it's tolerance nicely, so it does hold. Rotation at the thigh on universal. Double jointed knee gets you the full bend. The ratcheted knee, and then a friction. The friction joint on mine is tight, although I have heard, and I did on the original, have to tighten the screw because it got loose. This one so far is okay. Coming down to the feet, you have ankle tilts, gets you out to there. And a forward tilt, just due to the way it works, gets you a little bit forward. All right, let's take a look at the accessories. You get a lot of accessories with this guy, so we'll go over them. I'll try to go pretty quick. We got this gun, which does separate into 2. You get the welding torch and this weapon from that one episode. So we can plug this into here. Just tab it in the hand like typical Masterpiece fashion. And then we can take the other one, and that one can go into here. in typical Masterpiece fashion. Good looking guns. We can also take this and plug this into here and have a longer gun. And you could dual wield that if you want. We also get these two blasters, same as what we got with the Ironhide. That works well. And of course you get two of them. I'm not going to put both in. And we get the, what I call the air filter gun. Done in chrome. That looks good. Oops. And we can take that and put that in here. No shortage of weapons on this figure. I do think this guy looks really good with that. And then we get his tools for fixing. You know, he is Ratchet after all, so he does repair other robots. So you can take his wrench, and that will just get into the hand. That works nicely. You do get two of those, so if you want him to hold two wrenches, you can. He also comes with the tool from that one episode, so you can do that. You can hold that just fine. And we also get this cannon with a chromed tip. It doesn't come out, at least I don't think it comes out. This can mount right here. You do have to open up this little clip. That clip will fit over the backpack. It's purposely designed, it's got an angle on this, so that's purposely designed only to go on this side, not meant to go on that side. So just get that attached. It's kind of loose, honestly. I wish it was a little bit tighter. Doesn't really lock in place, but there you go. You can have this. You can't angle it up. See how that look? That's pretty good. We also get his backpack or jetpack. Looks like this. And you want to put the pegs, or actually, sorry, these facing downwards. So we'll plug in these blast effects, which fit in there. And then this will plug in right here. And now you've got his backpack, jetpack with blast effects. That looks pretty nice. There isn't really a lot of weapons that work with this. The only one that seems to fit somewhat is these. So you could use the blast effect with these guns if you wanted to. Or on the jetpack. We also get some alternate faces and heads. So you get 4 alternate faces to go with this guy. And I'll kind of go in progressively more extreme order. So if you lift up the face, the head, and pull forward on this face, you can unpeg it from here. There is some paint in there, so it's pretty tight. And then grab your next face and tab that in. We have this smiling, sort of laughing face. You have this more happy laughing face. We have this concerned, getting killed face. And lastly, we have this kind of going to battle fighting face. Some nice options there. We also get an alternate head. So this requires you to slide the original head off. This is the Marvel comic face. Really cool looking. Done in red, white, and metallic blue. So we're going to slide the head off. We can rotate it around. Slide it off to the side. And then we're going to slide the new one on. And then rotate that. And now we have the Marvel comic look for Ratchet. That's pretty cool. It could also be like, I think was it animated or Prime where his face looked like this? I can't remember, but it's a very good looking head sculpt. So that's cool that they included that if you want to have that look. And for size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. Fits in very nicely with the Masterpiece scale. And there he is with his Mold Mate Warhorse, their version of Ironhide. They do look good together. And I did want to mention a couple of things. One, I still haven't been able to get that part, the cover for the neck. I've been waiting for my retailer to send it. I did send an email to FansToys, and I think they're going to send it. But I did ask about this, and they are not providing parts. They say they don't have parts to replace that tab. So you can see I've got quite a bit of paint scrape on this tab. It's very unfortunate that they're not providing replacements. And here's a comparison. I think most people want to see the next to the Takara version of Ratchet. This is getting quite old at this point. This is many, many years old. And I definitely think this looks better just sculpt-wise overall. You know, it's a very clean looking robot mode. Vehicle mode, I do still like the Takara version. I am going to do a full comparison so you can see everything, see how they perform, and see how they look in both modes. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, here's a quick comparison. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into vehicle mode. And I considered doing this review in reverse just because it's the same transformation. However, there is a difference, and that has to do with these emergency lights here that changes the transformation ever so slightly. So I decided let's go ahead and do the transformation from robot to vehicle mode. And maybe I'll do a separate video from vehicle to robot, just so if you are going in that direction, you have some help. But we'll start the same way as we did with Ironhide. We're going to go ahead and lift up the arm, open up this panel, fold that all the way back, fold the hand in, rotate the hand to the outside, and then collapse down the arm. So it looks like that. All right, same on this side. Now that we got the arms taken care of, we can take care of the upper body. And there's a lot of tricky parts here. Go ahead and unplug the arm from here. It might help as you're pulling, it tends to pull this panel out. So I recommend you hold this panel in here and then use a spudger to pop this out of its little joint. Here we go. All right, just fold those down to the side. Those will sit right there for now. And open up these doors. They kind of already started opening up, but open up these on each side. We can lift up the head. You're going to lift up this little tab. It kind of comes out even without lifting up the tab, but you do want to lift up this tab section. And come to the back here. We can lift up this backpack. And we're going to just leave that there for now. We'll take care of this front section. So we're going to rotate this in. We'll rotate this around 180 degrees. And then we have to get it back out here. It's a little tricky because this bottom edge sticks out. So you want to bring the bottom edge out first and then the top edge. And it kind of plugs in right there. I'll do it again on this side. Bring this over. Bring the bottom edge out first. It does get hung up a little bit, but and then the top, and then these will actually, first we're going to take these and let's see, fold these in, fold this panel down so it sits in here. And actually you want these kind of straight back. So the head is going to actually end up going in between there. And then these will sit on the outsides of those. So you have these two lined up like that. All right, now we can take care of this backpack. And this is actually where you can go into the toy mode if you want to. I guess I'm going to show for completeness, but go ahead and open up this backpack. They'll just unplug from there. There is a slider right here. You're going to slide out all the way on that. And then if you want to go into toy deco mode, I don't think it's worth it, but go ahead and open up these and you'll see there's a little ridge there and it's in a track. So you have to push back on this. It's kind of tricky. I like to use some leverage with my thumbs to push back on this, you're trying to make this gap between here. And it's really tight. The paint definitely makes it worse. You can see I got the gap started there. But that's got to come out if you want to do this. And that's why I say this isn't worth it, to be honest. I don't think it's worth it. All right, let's keep going. There we go. I got it. It slid out. The first few times, that's going to be really hard just because the paint is blocking you from doing it. Now we have this. We can turn this into the sled. All right, there it is with everything installed. Again, in my opinion, not worth doing it, but just wanted to show it. And then this guy, you would actually not fold this piece in, so you could have all this folded up and have the arms facing out, so you could get the toy deco look. I'm not going to bother with it. I just wanted to show you, since it was different down here, how to get it here. Let's get all the weapons off and continue the transformation. All right, now let's get this transformed back into the top of the vehicle mode. And the good news is it partially transformed where we want it to be. Go ahead and flip this in, flip that down, and that'll just make the top of the roof. We had to get these past here again. This part is a little tricky. All right, once you have them down like this, then you can push them in, and you should be able to rotate this past, push these back up. Like I said, not worth it. And then get this down enough so that you can rotate these back out. There we go. Then you can bring this back up. Slide these down. And get them aligned. Push in these treads so they're inside. Get this collapsed in. There we go. And then this will fold. Just make sure you fold it at the same time so it gets lined up like that. Definitely not worth it. Straighten these out. Just leave those out like that. I guess I push this out. This will just clip up into there. Bring this down. This is on the slider, so make sure it's slid forward. And this rear window will sit right there. Same on this side. Bring this down. The rear window will sit right there. Make sure these white pieces are pushed in so they fill in that little gap here and here. All right. Totally not worth it, but here we are. All right, we can put this back on here. Again, it's a little not worth it to me, but you're going to slide this up and onto these two tracks. Now we're ready to continue. So in my Warhorse transformation, I actually did this first. We're going to end up putting the head down into here. Has to rotate all the way down. The crest will sit right here. And this will end up lining up with this. I actually am not going to do that yet. Because on the original, actually caused some damage. So I'm going to try a different method of transferring. But make sure you have, again, these two panels right here straight. So they fit around the head. And then these kind of up against them like that. All right, so flip this back over. Make sure you have these two panels straight. All right, and now we can take care of the legs. I'm going to lay it down and we'll start on the legs. All right, so for the legs, it is the same as Ironhide, but go ahead and open up these hip skirts on the back and the side. Fold the leg out to give yourself a little bit of room. Fold your foot down. And we can start undoing some of this. So open up this tab right here. We're going to release this piece from here. You're kind of pulling the two apart. The front is a piece of die cast here. And this back is a plastic piece that you can separate both at the same time. All right. Come to here. We will fold this panel out. Actually, we can rotate here and get this all the way up here. For this panel, we're going to slide it out on this slider. And then we're going to lift this up. And we can open up this panel right here. And leave that there for now. For this bottom part of the leg, we can come to the foot. We're going to open up this retaining tab, as well as this retaining tab right here on the bottom. And remember, these are all painted surfaces. Some of them are die cast. It does have issues with paint, so just be careful. We're going to separate the foot, the front of the foot, the side of the foot. Open up this. That'll allow you to fold this panel out. You can straighten this up. Fold your wheel down and out. You can fold that straight. Over here, we're going to remove this little bumper piece. And it can be tricky, so sometimes I just grab a spudger and just rotate that out. Over here, you're going to rotate this panel out. Fold down that white piece. So we end up with that sitting like that. All right, we're going to accordion this leg up, and we want obviously the knee to be fully collapsed. This will come up like this. We'll take this panel. This will fold on the back. Oops. This will fold back. There's a double hinge here, so make sure that double hinge goes all the way flat. Under here. And then this is going to close down. It actually tabs in there, but this might come out, so I just leave it for now. I have this on the wrong side, so let's open up this slider. This will come around to this side. And remember, this is on this slider here. But rotate this down and then rotate the whole thing at this joint here. Ends up on the other side. This is going to go underneath this. And on this side, you should have that folded that way. Make sure this is open. This will come down and tab in right there. This will sit over the top. Back here, make sure we have everything straight. Back here, we're going to open up this panel right there to make the rear tail light, and then bring this over, and that'll complete that rear bumper. Bring this down, tab it in on the side where we had it before, and tab it in right here where that panel is. This will come down, and that will just sit right there. You can bring this piece in, and now we can get this rear hip skirt tabbed in to there to kind of lock that in place. Right, so that's one side done. It's a little wonky to get it done, but that's how it looks. So go ahead and do the other side. I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll be right back. All right, now that we got both legs transformed, we can assemble it. So go ahead and tab them together here, as well as here on the top. So you should end up with everything kind of flush. And now we'll take care of this. We're going to slide the waist, actually lift up on the ab crunch first. Then we're going to slide the waist forward on the slider. So it gets all the way up to there. There is a peg here, so that peg has to come out of this slot. And that's why you're lifting up on the ab crunch. Right? That will allow you to take care of all of this. So let's take care of this upper section. We're going to fold these doors or windows out. I'm going to bring this back. And get these doors in here so you can fold in. And remember, you have open here. So it looks like that. Same on this one. Bring this in. And we're going to rotate it back. So get them folded. So you have these on the top. And put it up against each other, sitting flat like this. All right, now we can start closing up. So make sure this is slid all the way forward. Bring this back. This will actually clip in. Now we'll take care of this upper body section. So make sure the head is folded all the way in. This section should be folded down like this and tabbed in. Make sure this came undone as I was doing the rest. All right, so it should look like this. So if you have that folded over correctly, you should be able to bring this entire section forward. So it comes down and sits like this. And I'm going to do this kind of last, this top section, right? And our little windshield came out here. Okay. So bring this down. We're going to tab all this in, and this panel came in. And this is why I hate this transformation, but these will come down and clip in here. Make sure this little ridge goes inside here. It's tricky. All right, once you have both of those clips on the inside, then give it a push down. And then on the back here, make sure these claps in. On the back here, you're going to get this over the back. And you can see there's a little bit of paint scraping right there as we do this. These are the tightest parts, or translucent parts with white paint. Not the best idea, honestly. All right. Now that we have those parts done, we can get this part in next. And like I mentioned, I'm doing this in a different sequence than I did the Ironhide. Get this tucked in underneath. Make sure this is collapsed in. And then push up until it clips into there and clips in on the side. All right. Same on this side. Bring this down. Make sure this is collapsed in. Fold this over and get it up and underneath. All right, last few steps, we're going to take this. Make sure these two ridges are on the outside, or on the inside. They have to go inside this little piece here. There we go. And then tab that in on the top. How it's looking. One little thing I forgot is this little clip will hold the door down. So hold that in, tab that in, and then close the door. Same on this side. Make sure you close that retaining clip to hold the window in place. and then close the door. Last step, this tab is going to go into here. There's a clip on the front that's going to here. And this can be a little tricky because there's a little ridge right there that's tucked underneath. So tuck that in, as well as at the same time get that clip in for the wheel. And then rotate this onto the front. Oops. And get that tabbed in. All right, make sure you do this one. The one with the peg has got to go first, so make sure you do this one second. Get that tabbed in, and bring this down. Peg it into the front. Make sure you push all the bumper and wheel and everything in so it's collapsed down. All right, there is dock in alt mode, and it is a pretty good looking alt mode. Just kind of a pain to get here. Got the nice translucent blue glass all the way around. So far, I don't have any paint chips. This is after one transformation. So it's doing okay. Maybe the white paint's a little better. Now, I know there are people with paint chips right on the front of the chest. But yeah, so far, I'm okay. We'll see how this, especially this tab right here, holds up. My original, my Warhorse, is definitely has problems. Here's the back. Got the yellow lights back here. Rubber tires with chrome wheels. Rolls nicely on those. There is these two slots here on the top. I haven't found that anything actually fits in there. Would have been nice if you could like put a gun or something in there, but nothing seems to fit in that slot. It's really just tabs for the backpack. But overall, it's a good looking vehicle mode. For comparison, there it is with the MP10 Optimus Prime. Fits in nicely. And then here it is with the MP Ironhide. Basically the same size, a little bit slightly bigger in terms of, maybe exactly the same, but the height is a little bit higher. Length is a tiny bit longer. So it fits in well with the Masterpiece scale overall. So final recommendations on the Fantastic Model or FansToys dock. I feel about the same as I did with the Ironhide. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 partial recommendation. What this does well is it is the best looking Ratchet, period. You know, it's just the sculpt, the paint, the detail. I love the metallic blue eyes. The accessories it comes with are great. You know, it looks really good. Where it is a problem is the transformation causes paint chipping and paint scraping. I do have little bits of paint scraping, like I mentioned right here on the top. Little parts here and there. I was much more careful than I was with the Warhorse figure because I knew that it had that problem. Little bits here and there. Now, not a lot compared to how bad I have it on Warhorse. But still, enough that I wouldn't recommend transforming it. Because each time you do it, you risk losing some paint. And that's why I give it a partial recommendation. Because I think if you're going to enjoy it just in robot mode and leave it that way, you'll probably be pretty happy. But that's why I give it a partial. Some people do like transforming their figures. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the comparison with the Takara, and we'll see you next time.